I don't care if your family came here in 1655. If you have face tattoos, you should really lose your, certainly lose your right to vote, but also you shouldn't be a citizen anymore. I want to start with, well, this is related to, I almost mentioned this in the opening, but it's not exactly national news, but it very much relates to the topic at hand. So this is a viral clip from the Whatever podcast and plays right into what we were talking about, like denaturalizing. What would that look like? Okay, if we were going to start a campaign of mass denaturalization, not just mass deportation, which we also need and we don't have right now, but also mass denaturalization, what would that look like? And how do you identify the people who should be denaturalized? If they lied on their application when they came here, how do we know? Well, fortunately, if we're going to pursue this, many of these people, they don't hide it. They don't hide the fact that they lied. And so here's a clip that I think kind of makes that point. Watch.
Let's say the United States went to war with Colombia. Who do you side with?
Colombia.
Get the f*** out of our country. Holy f***. Why do you side with Colombia?
Because I'm from Colombia.
You've lived here for 10 years and you're now a citizen.
Okay, still that doesn't mean I'm not gonna side with
you have
my
no
country.
Okay, I'm looking this up. Yes, becoming a citizen requires taking the oath of allegiance. By taking the oath, you pledge to renounce any foreign allegiance, support and defend the U.S. Constitution and laws, and perform service to the country when required by law. You do not become a citizen until you have completed the oath ceremony and received your certificate of naturalization. Did you receive your certificate of naturalization?
Yes.
Did you complete the oath ceremony?
Yes.
So you're a liar? Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Here, read that again. I do solemnly swear that I absolutely and entirely renounce and abjure, I don't even know what the that means, all allegiance, Colombia, and fidelity to any foreign prince or what the potentate? Is that a fucking fruit? What the is that? It's like a pomegranate and a fucking potato. Right. State or sovereignty. Did you say that?
Yeah.
So you lied to get into the United States, bruv?
I didn't lie.
You have allegiance to Colombia.
It's not allegiance.
Originally, you said Colombia.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll stick to that answer.
Okay, so first of all, this is an easy call because anybody who has face tattoos should be deported anyway. I don't care if your family came here in 1655. If you have face tattoos, you should really lose your, certainly lose your right to vote, but also you shouldn't be a citizen anymore. But second, this woman obviously needs to be denaturalized and kicked out of the country. She lied on her application. She lied when she took the oath. She committed fraud. And this is a clear-cut case. It's what we talked about in the opening. We need to actually go do it. If we're going to start denaturalizing, this would be a good place to start. Trump administration, that woman shouldn't be hard to find. Go find her and denaturalize her and kick her out of the country. That's the other thing, too, is that if you're going to say stuff like this, then you have to go do it. You might as well go do it. Because you're going to get blamed for it anyway. Now that you've said this, if you're the Trump administration, now that you've talked about denaturalizing citizens and kicking them out of the country, well, it's as far as the left's concerned, you've already done it. And so they're going to hang that around your neck anyway. Which, okay, like this is not an argument against doing it. Quite the opposite. What I'm saying is, okay, you've thrown down the gauntlet. And so now whatever blowback you're going to get politically, you're going to get regardless because you said it. So you have to do it, though. You have to actually follow through. If you say the thing and then don't do it, now it's the worst of all worlds because now you'll get the blowback for having done the thing, but you don't even get the results of having done it because you didn't do it. And this has been one of the problems for Trump since even going back to his first term. And I think they've done a lot of great things this second term, but you also have these things of like saying, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and then it doesn't happen. But because you said it, you're going to get blamed anyway. So don't say it unless you're actually going to do it. You say you're going to stop all third world immigration. Obviously, I'm a big fan. I've been calling for that forever. But you got to do it. Denaturalizing citizens and kicking them out of the country. That is in comparison to the recent precedent, that's a radical step. But we need radical steps. So I'm all on board for it. But you got to do it. And so this is it. And you know, I think the problem is that, especially in recent history, we treat citizenship like it's a not guilty verdict in court or something. You know, once you get the verdict, there's no going back. That's double jeopardy. So you could be found not guilty, and then very clear evidence materializes after the fact showing that you actually did commit the crime. Doesn't matter. You were found not guilty. You can't be tried again for the same crime. And we seem to treat citizenship like that. You know, someone becomes a citizen, and then it becomes very clear that they committed fraud, that they lied, that they're here for all the wrong reasons. And our attitude is, well, they're a citizen. Double jeopardy, you can't take it back now. No, you can take it back, actually. You can. There's a legal mechanism. And we've always had that legal mechanism. So citizenship is something you can lose. And you should lose it. There are many people who have it now who should lose it. And we should create an atmosphere where if you're an immigrant and you come here and you get to be a citizen and you're naturalized, where now you realize you have to walk a kind of a fine line and you have to mind your P's and Q's or you're gone. It's not, oh, you get citizenship and now, oh, I'm home free. No, it's, okay, you're a citizen now, but we made you a citizen and we can unmake it. So you better get in line. You know, you better go out there. You better love this country, at least act like you do. If you don't, fake it. You better fake it. Because if you don't, we're going to kick you out. Because here's the other point about this video. Most immigrants, the vast majority, feel exactly like face tattoo woman feels. Notice how she says, well, I'm going to side with my country, which is Colombia. That's who. So she's lived here for 10 years. But when she says my country, she means Colombia, not the United States of America. That's how she sees it. In fact, she doesn't even really understand why he's asking the question. She's confused by the question because it's so obvious. When he says, well, would you side with Colombia or the United States? It's not even as though she perceives this to be kind of a gotcha or she has to reveal some dark secret. It's just like, oh, what? Colombia? What do you mean? Of course, Colombia. It's my country. Why are you even asking me that? That's her attitude. And here's the thing. Which maybe it'll surprise you to hear me say this. Although if you've been paying attention, it won't surprise you at all. I respect it. I respect that attitude. When she's asked why she sides with Colombia, she says, because I'm from there. That's what she says. Why do you side with Colombia? She doesn't say, oh, it's a great country or, you know, the GDP or the crime rate. She doesn't mention any of that because that stuff is not good for Colombia. But it's not about that. She just says, well, I'm from there. It's where I'm from. Very matter of fact. It's as simple as that. It's like if you ask, if you were to ask her why she sides with her family, she would probably say, well, because it's my family. Why do you side with your brother? Why do you take your brother? If you could take your brother's side or some other brother's side, someone else's brother's side in a conflict, whose side are you on? Well, I'm on my brother's side. Well, why are you on your brother's side? Well, because he's my brother. That's it. It's not because he's a good person. It's not because he's nice. It's not because he's smart. He might be those things or he might not be. But I'm on his side because he's my brother. That's it. And that's the attitude that most people have instinctively. If you ask me why I love my children, if you were to say, why do you love your children? I'm not going to say anything about their talents or their intelligence, how obedient they are, or how well they do with their schoolwork or anything like that. Now, I appreciate those things about them, but that's not why I love them. If you ask me why I love my kids, I'm not going to mention any of that. I think all my kids are really smart, but even if they weren't, I would still love them. No, I love my children because they're my children. That's the reason. So if you say, Matt, why do you love your kids? Because they're my kids? What do you mean? That's it. That's why I love them. And if you don't understand that, like if you actually need more of an explanation, then you're barely human. Because any human should be, that should be all the explanation that you need. And that's how it is, or how it should be, with your homeland, with your country. You love it and you side with it because it's yours. It's where you're from. Right? Why do I side with America? Why do I love America? Why am I a patriot for America? Because it's my country. Because I'm from here. Because I was born here and my parents were born here. Because I have ancestors who fought in every war that America's ever been involved in. That's the reason. And you could look at all that and say, well, that's just an accident of your birth. It's got nothing to do with anything you've personally achieved. What, you love America just because it's your home, just because you live there and your parents? Yeah. That's why. I'm tied to this country by blood. And blood is stronger than personal choice or personal achievement. That's the truth. That's a truth that almost everybody on the planet understands instinctively, which is how you have these people from third world crap holes who come here and their countries are a disaster and they still have pride in their country and they value it over ours. And we as Americans, we often say, well, how could that be? How could you still care about this country? Look at what a disaster it is. Well, the answer is it's because it's their country. It's because it's where their ancestors are from. It's where their grandparents are buried. That's why. So how could an immigrant who chooses to come here to a country that is objectively better than their homeland still feel a deeper tie to their homeland? Well, again, I'll tell you how. Because blood is stronger than personal choice. Yeah, they chose to come here, but they are tied by blood to their country, to their homeland. They were born there. It's where their ancestors are buried. They will always feel a greater loyalty to that place. And like I said, I respect that. I truly do. I actually respect people who are from crappy countries, but still feel pride in that country. It's like loving your mother, even though she's an alcoholic crackhead or something. If somebody says they love their mother and I know that their mother is a disaster of a person, I'm not going to say, what do you mean? Look at her. She's terrible. Why? How could you love her? No, you should still love her. It's hard for me to feel any affinity towards her as an outsider. She's not my mother. So I can look at that and say, well, thank God that's not my mom. But it is your mom and you should love her. The Deal Wire Shop's cyber deals are live right now. We're taking up to 70% off conservative gifts for everyone on your list. Gifts like my best-selling Am I Racist? The Game, based on my hit documentary, Am I Racist? That melted the DEI-obsessed minds of race hustlers across the globe. We've got the golden Leftist Tears tumbler, extremely limited supply and only back for a limited time. The collected poems of Donald J. Trump, which, yes, is real. Plus, hats, T-shirts, hoodies, and a whole lot more that you can't find anywhere else. Whether you're shopping for your based uncle, your freedom-loving mom, or just treating yourself for surviving another year of absolute insanity, well, we've got you covered. But here's the thing. These deals won't last, and neither will the inventory. Items will sell out. So don't be the person scrambling, wondering why everything's gone. Head to dailywire.com/shop right now. That's dailywire.com/shop. So I respect that. I understand that. But that's why I say, well, you got to go back. Nothing personal. You know, I get where you're coming from, but you got to go back. And these immigrants, they come here not because they love our country. That's a small minority. I'm not saying that there are some people who come here and they with American flags waving, and they just really want to be an American. And I'm not saying that never happens. That obviously does happen, but I think that's a small minority. I think the vast majority of people who come here, they care about their own country more, and they always will. They always will, and even their children will. And because why? Because why do they actually come here? For the most part, they come here not because, oh, I really want to be an American, not because I have any great desire to be an American per se. They come here because it's an economic opportunity. They see America as an economic zone, as a place that it will benefit them personally to come here, and it will benefit their own countries that they actually care about, their real countries. Because they're going to come here, they're going to make more money, they're going to send some of that money back to their homelands. Or they're going to come here and defraud our system and rip off our taxpayers and send that money back. And they're not going to care about it because they're going to say, like, I don't care, I'll defraud these people. These aren't even my people. That's how most immigrants are. In fact, here's another clip I wanted to play briefly. This is from an immigrant who is being profiled on the local news, whatever local news channel this is, I'm not sure which one, talking about self-deportation. So this is, Colombia, actually. So another Colombian, and she's going to be self-deporting. And just listen to this conversation with the reporter, and the reason we hear why she came here in the first place, and listen to what that reason is. Here it is.
For 3 years. She's been raising her children on her own since January, after her husband was deported.
Porque yo pensé que me iba a quedar más tiempo aquí en este país.
She tells me she wanted to stay in the country longer and have better education for her kids. Goa Santos says ICE agents contacted her over the phone and gave her an option to either be detained or self-deport. She believes leaving is the best choice for her family.
Porque a mí no me gustaría ver que a mis hijos.
She says, I don't want my kids to see someone come into the house with a gun or have them or her be handcuffed. Goa Santos plans to make the most of her last few days she has here. She still says she has plenty to be grateful for. She's thankful to God, for her kids, and family. I asked her what she'll miss most about being here in the U.S.
Las personas.
The people, she tells me.
So this is another one from Colombia, been here for 3 years, does not speak a word of English, and so 3 years has not bothered to speak English. And why is she here? Well, she wants a better education for her kids. She wants economic opportunity and education for her kids. Which, again, I get it. You love your kids, you want them to have a better education. And so you realize they're going to get a better education here than they would in Colombia. Great. I mean, not great. Understandable. I get it. Because you're looking out for your kids. But we have to look out for our own country and our own kids, which means you got to go. That's it. And she does not say anything about, she talks about the people, that's nice, but she doesn't say anything about, I love America, I love this country, I love what it, whatever. I respect its traditions and its history, and it shouldn't say anything about any of that. Almost none of these people would say anything like that if you ask them, why are you here? Okay, you go up to any immigrant on the street and ask, why did you come here? Almost none of them, not none, but almost none, will say, oh, I just love America so much. I just want to be a part of its traditions and its culture. And you're not going to hear that. You're going to hear, well, I can make more money here. Yeah, I want my kids to go to a good school. We don't have any good schools. I come from a third world country. We don't have any good school. They're going to say something like that. And that in a lot of ways, that's like the attitude they should have. But that's also why they got to go. You got to go home. This is not your home, and even you would admit that. Okay, it's like if we say to you, you got to go home, and you know what we mean, because to you, when you hear go home, you don't think, oh, I got to go back to my, oh, you mean go home? You mean go back to my house in Cincinnati, Ohio? You don't think that. You think, oh, when we say go home, you know we mean go to Columbia because you consider that to be your home. Still. So that's why you got to be there. Hey, YouTube, thanks for listening to the show. If you'd like access to my full show with no ads, you should go to dailywire.com and use promo code Walsh to get 2 months free on all annual plans. See you there.